Welcome back from the break. I'm Uday Pratap Singh. You're joining us on NewsX. We are continuing our special series right here, and on the broadcast now, we're going to be focusing on UPI. Yes, the Unified Payments Interface solution that sprung from India in 2016. It's not just a solution for the 1.4 crore people of the country, but for the 5 billion people across the globe. Yes, UPI has turned Prime Minister Modi's Digital India dream into a reality, with countries including the UK, France, UAE and Malaysia collaborating with India to bring this transformative digital tech model in place. Vendors and buyers, big and small, have benefited immensely from this digital model. It is ensuring ease of doing business. Yes, it's certainly ushering in India the era of a cashless economy. We're dedicating the next 1 hour to see what impact has really been seen of UPI at the grassroots level. Joining us at this point on the broadcast is a special panel. We have Ajay Dua with us, former Commerce Secretary of India. We also have Anshuman Joshi joining us live, senior FEMA expert and banker. Also with us is Chandra Prakash Sharma, MSME industry expert. Also with us is Bharat Vadera. He's also an MSME sector expert. We also have Rishabh Gulati, managing editor of NewsX, joining us on the broadcast. Let's start off, though, this telecast by having a look now at some ground reports. Yes, these are ground reports that have been done from various parts of the country, showing us the impact that UPI has really had. So these first reports that we're going to play out today have been done at Borivali market in Mumbai. Very busy market, as you all know. It's, of course, in the heart of Maharashtra. Also, another report that we will play out has been done from Sadar Bazaar in Gurugram, Haryana.
सर, क्या बोलेंगे जब से जो ऑनलाइन पेमेंट का सिस्टम आया है, देख रहे हैं कि लोग बहुत ज़्यादा जो है रिलाई हो चुके हैं, वो ऑनलाइन पेमेंट ज़्यादा प्रेफर करते हैं कैश से।
नमस्ते, मेरा नाम गोपाल झा है और मैं पिछले 20 सालों से यहाँ पर धंधा करता हूँ। लेकिन मुझे जो कुछ समय पहले, मतलब जो 2014-13 के बाद में डिजिटल इंडिया का जो मुहिम एक छिड़ा, वह देश पहले एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकता था कि इतने लोग डिजिटल इंडिया के माध्यम से डिजिटल पेमेंट लेंगे, यूपीआई पेमेंट लेंगे। लेकिन मुझे लगता है कि 2014 के बाद में जो एक मुहिम चला, उसके माध्यम से हमें काफ़ी फ़र्क पड़ा है। जो धंधा मेरा 5,000 का होता था वो 7,000 का होने लगा, क्योंकि लोग जो खरीदारी है पहले मुझसे अगर 2 लेते थे तो कैश के चक्कर में वो 4 नहीं ले पाते, लेकिन आज यूपीआई के ट्रांजैक्शन के कारण वह 2 लेने आते हैं 2, लेकिन उनके पास कैश की समस्या रहती है, तो अब यूपीआई के माध्यम से 4 लेके जाते हैं। तो हमारा धंधा भी बढ़ा है और लोगों को जो है अवेयरनेस, हमको बैंक का चक्कर नहीं लगाना पड़ता है, वहाँ से पेमेंट लेना हो या देना हो हमें आसानी से अपने दुकान पे बैठ करके ही हो जाता है। हमें बैंक में काफ़ी देर समय नहीं गंवाना पड़ता है।
कई बार ऐसा होता था कि कस्टमर के पास कैश नहीं होता था, जैसे कि 200-300 का सामान लिया, लेकिन कस्टमर के पास 100 रुपया ही है, तो कस्टमर को अगर करना था, एक कस्टमर के डिमांड पे ही हमने लगाया और फिर आगे चलकर ये इतना बढ़ गया कि अब आपने देखा होगा एक छोटा 30 रुपये का पेमेंट भी हमने इससे रिसीव किया। प्लस इससे फ़ायदा ये होता है कि अभी हम माल जहाँ से परचेज़ करते हैं, इनकेस हमारे पास उनको पेमेंट करने के लिए नहीं है, चेक देने से अच्छा हम उनको बोलते हैं कि हम शाम तक व्यापार करके और शाम को उनको यूपीआई कर देंगे। हम अपने सप्लायर को भी यूपीआई कर देते हैं, हमको उससे सुविधा होता है।
1.5 साल से मैं यूज़ कर रहा हूँ। यूपीआई यूज़ करने से और जैसे गूगल पे, पेटीएम, यूपीआई, ये सब सिस्टम से हमारे बिजनेस में फ़र्क पड़ा है और बिजनेस हमारे बढ़ गए। जैसे लोगों के पास हमें हर वक्त पैसे जेब में नहीं रहते, तो फिर भी वो गूगल से पेमेंट कर देता है आदमी या पेटीएम से कर देता है। लोगों के पास रहे या नहीं रहे, हमारा बिजनेस भी बढ़ गया है थोड़ा बहुत।
We have got some of the customers here who are shopping from a medical store. Let us talk to them and try to know, sir, what is your name and what are you purchasing right now from the medical store?
My name is Deepak. I have just purchased an ice cream from this medical store.
And how often have you been using UPI?
I'm using this since last 5 years, and it is very convenient to use. Sometimes we are short of money in our pocket, so we get directly out of our house. So it's very convenient way and user friendly to do the payment through UPI. It's a safety one. So whatever the things we want to purchase, sometimes they do not have that exchange also. We have a big note, so that's the good medium to do the UPI transaction. It is a safety way.
I prefer to make payments through UPI. The reason is that I don't like to carry much cash with me. Previously, I used to deal with a check, but it is now more easy with UPI. Secondly, when you don't have to carry cash with you, and thirdly, that in payment of taxations, especially indirect taxation, it's very easy to account from both the sides.
आपको कहाँ दिक्कत आती है?
मेरे को दिक्कत ये आती है कि बहुत से लोग जो है कभी दुकानदारों पे नहीं होता है किसी पे, समझे? जब दुकानदारों पे नहीं होता यूपीआई तो हमारा ग्राहक चला जाता है।
ये यूपीआई के जो ऑप्शन है लगातार कैशलेस ट्रांजैक्शन को लेकर के था, कितना बदलाव आया आपके काम में इसके बाद?
मेरे काम में बहुत बदलाव आया। यूपीआई होने के वजह से मजबूरी दुकानदारों को रखना पड़ता है, कैश पेमेंट लेके नहीं आता है ग्राहक।
आपसे कुछ बात जानना चाहेंगे, आजकल हर जगह हम बात करते हैं दुकानदारी खरीदारी के लिए यूपीआई यानी पेटीएम, गूगल पे, इस तरह के जो है उसका इस्तेमाल होता है, चाहे पेट्रोल पंप जाए, चाहे मॉल जाए, चाहे दुकान। आपके लिए ये बेहतर है या कैसे देखते हैं?
बेहतर है यूपीआई।
कैसे बेहतर?
ट्रांजैक्शन कैशलेस है।
तो आप रूटीन में आप कितना बदलाव आया है? क्या डेली यूज करते हैं या कभी कभी किसी जरूरत पर ही?
नहीं, डेली यूज करते हैं।
डेली, तो ये अच्छी चीज़ है,
बहुत अच्छी चीज़ है।
आपसे एक बात पूछना चाहेंगे, ये यूपीआई आजकल ज़्यादा बड़ा है, इसको कैशलेस ट्रांजैक्शन, आप इसे कैसे देखते हैं, कितना फर्क पड़ता है, इससे कितना बदलाव आया है?
इसमें बहुत ज़्यादा बदलाव आया सर।
अच्छा है या बुरा?
अच्छा है सर, बहुत अच्छा है।
किस तरीके से अच्छा रहता है?
अच्छा, देयर इज नो प्रॉब्लम एट चैन एटसेट्रा, आए पैसे करें यूपीआई बढ़िया।
अमूमन चाहे पेट्रोल पंप की बात करें, सब्जी की बात करें, दुकानों की, राशन की बात करें,
मेरे पास सीएनजी पंप है, उसमें पेटीएम में बहुत पैसे आते हैं। आई एम वेरी हैप्पी पेटीएम, नहीं तो कैश में दिक्कत हो।
आपका अमूमन डेली, साप्ताहिक या महीना कितने दिन में इस्तेमाल होता होगा?
क्या
डेली इस्तेमाल में आता है
पेटीएम? डेली यूज करता हूँ।
तमाम जो लोग हैं वो कुल मिलाकर के इससे काफ़ी सहमत नजर आ रहे हैं। गुरुग्राम से कैमरामैन दिनेश के साथ दीपक शर्मा, इंडिया न्यूज।
And let me bring in at this point Ajay Dua first. Ajay Dua, post demonetization, we really saw efforts being made for a cashless economy. But obviously UPI has really transformed things, really propelled this digital economy push, hasn't it?
Uday, thank you for having me on your show. Though I'm not an expert like any of the other colleagues on the panel in this field, but I totally share your perception that since 2016 we have taken a number of steps in this country to move to a digital payment system, an economy backed by digital payment systems. And that has helped, provided convenience, provided comfort, as well as helped in boosting the transactions. Just to give you an example, if about 250 to 260 million people use the UPI mode to make payments, another 150 million, I'm told that they make payments with because of the Aadhaar-enabled payment system, so that makes it about 400 million, or roughly a third of the population of the country, which I would say is a huge jump in 5 years, or 6 years, let's say. It is the number of transactions which are made runs into billions, and the volume or the value of each transaction there is over 1,800 rupees. Mm-hmm. The figures put out for September ending quarter, so that shows how much more is the volume of business taking place through this mode, apart from all those aspects of convenience. So I would say that it has been an outright success. And I'm not in any way exaggerating or holding a view for anyone when I say that what we have done, what's commonly referred to as the India stack, all those steps which we've taken, including demonetization in respect of payments, cashless payments, has been the right steps, and that has enabled the economy to benefit, society to get more convenience, and the transactions between, say, payments from customers to businesses, that has been made far more convenient.
Absolutely. Let me take that, of course, across to Rishabh as well. And our first, couple of ground reports did show, the kind of level of impact that UPI has had, Rishabh, from vegetable vendors on ground in busy vegetable markets in Gurugram to, of course, posh executives roaming around in Mumbai who are obviously using UPI for the payments as well.
Yeah, so no, it's everybody, right? And this is truly, again, so important. When we are saying we're moving to cashless, Uday, I have 0 rupees in cash in my wallet right now. 0 rupees. Because not only do I have the confidence, and we all used to carry debit cards and credit cards after a certain point of time, but then you need a credit card machine, okay, which you have to sign up for. There's a 2% transaction fee on all of these things. So I can walk around because I know the parking guy will also take UPI. Anybody, any vendor, anybody will take UPI. And it's revolutionary. We're coming up with a survey which we've done over the past 3 days on UPI usage. The statistics and numbers already speak for themselves, but it's the practicality from what you've heard. It is the nature of the scheme. You heard, we keep having TV conversations on Hindu this and Muslim that. You heard from Muslim shopkeepers who are benefiting from UPI. You heard from people in Chennai, people in Mumbai, people in Delhi who are all using this system. And what's the practicality? Number one, no have to worry about loose change. The shopkeepers are telling you that people come and purchase more because they are not dependent on going to an ATM to withdraw cash every time. The shopkeepers themselves no longer have to go to the banks to do deposit slip, pay in slip, passbook. Everything is electronic copy happens. You can do your monthly account keeping, your taxation, your GST because you have a permanent record. So the convenience of it, the practicality of it, and it's the case example that we are the best in the world on this. And that is saying a lot.
Yes. Anshuman Joshi, let me bring you in here on, as a banker, on, of course, how customer behavior has changed in front of your own eyes in the last few years since the advent of UPI.
To tell you and tell everybody today that I think I remember when this UPI was being built up by NPCI. Back in 2014, I was a chairman of a cooperative bank. I was running this cooperative bank. I took over in 2014, and I remember we were closely working on trying to bring in our debit cards and stuff like that. When we started off working on bringing our own debit cards, we were working closely with NPCI on a day-to-day basis, and then they were working on this so-called new concept of the UPI. Then at that time, it was something very new coming up. But I being in the e-commerce business too, I still remember times like 2008, 2009, when we had e-commerce businesses in India, and we realized that basically the Indian market was not ready at that point of time. There has been a tremendous amount of change in the market space today, in the public behavior today. Because if you look at back in 2008 and back in, now in 2022, the things have completely changed. People have started using, UPI as the primary source of payments because it's so easy. You just use your phone and, you just go there and you don't need cash. I mean, it has completely, tremendously changed the whole ecosystem. The digital payments, if you look at the digital payment space, in fact, now people feel that I don't want to take out my debit card out of my wallet. People feel that I think now it is a time where people want to go ahead and simply use their phone and make those payments. And in fact, it has been an incredible model for everybody, especially for banks, because they start making some money anyway because of a lot of float and a lot of transactions. So this is moreover giving a lot of benefit to the banks, a lot of benefit to the general consumer and to businesses. I would like to let you know, just to give you a fair idea, that somewhere by the third quarter, India has basically processed about 19.65 billion transactions. Well, that's the number of transactions, okay? And if you look at the value, it's somewhere about 32.5 lakh crore worth of transactions, which is a massive number.
Phenomenal, yes. Yes.
Which is a phenomenal number. And I can tell you this, being a banker, I regularly acquire cooperative banks. A lot of legislations have come in the digital space. Because of the legislations that has come in the digital space, in fact, a lot of cooperative banks also has
Okay.
been able to take up UPIs. You go to any district cooperative bank, any urban cooperative bank around, everybody has UPI.
Yes.
You go to small shopkeepers, for anybody. I mean, it's a phenomenal payment system which is being replicated. In fact, NPCI is taking it global.
And let's, yes, yes, it has had global, kind of collaborations as well. I mentioned that at the start, but let's, explore now the vast segments of society and, of course, people in the country who've been impacted by this. Let's go across to some more ground reports now coming in. So the next ground reports are going to come from a different part of the country. So we're going to Bapu Ghat market in Hyderabad, and we're also playing out this ground report from Paris market in Chennai. What did my colleagues see there? Let's show you.
Leon, let's talk to Mohammad Zakir, who is the president of बापू घाट फ्रूट मार्केट एसोसिएशन. जाकिर जी, हमें ये बताइए, जब से ये यूपीआई मतलब ऑनलाइन का जो आया है, उससे कितनी सहूलियत मिली है व्यापार में?
सर बहुत सारे इससे जो है ना सहूलत मिली हमको. जो है ना चेंज के लिए इधर उधर भागना पड़ता था. जब अगर 500 की नोट अगर कोई ला के दिए तो उसके लिए जो है ना हमको बहुत सारे मुश्किल होती थी. कभी हमारे पास चेंज नहीं रहता था तो ग्राहक कस्टमर भी जो है ना वापस चले जाता था. लेकिन ये यूपीआई आने के जो है ना बहुत फैसिलिटी है, हमको बहुत अच्छा है इससे.
सर, आप ऑफन यूज़ करते हैं यूपीआई पेमेंट्स के लिए, बिल पेमेंट के लिए वगैरह?
हाँ सर, हम लोग वो भी यूज़ करते हैं सर.
सर, आप भी यूज़ करते हैं यूपीआई? कैसे फ़ायदे हैं आप?
बहुत फ़ायदे हैं सर उससे. अपन को चिल्लर के हाथ से उधर इधर भटकना पड़ता था पहले. अब जो है सो आ जा रहे कहीं भी स्कैन करते कि डाल दे रहे कोई नहीं.
कौन से यूपीआई यूज़ करते हैं?
फ़ोन पे खाली, ओनली फ़ोन पे.
ऑनलाइन में भी काफ़ी सारा फ्रॉड वगैरह के केसेस भी रजिस्टर हुए, तो अपने पास कुछ ऐसा हुआ है?
फ़ोन पे तो बहुत अच्छा है.
नहीं सर, इसके लिए जो है ना फ़ोन पे से जो है ना कुछ लोग आके जो है ना हमको इंस्ट्रक्शन दे के गए. तो जब तक आपको जो है ना राइट नहीं आता, पेमेंट जो है ना पेमेंट होने के बाद ही राइट आता, वो एक बार चेक कर लिए तो जो है ना हर किसी के लिए अच्छा रहता, बेनिफिट रहता. उसके लिए अपना अमाउंट अपने अकाउंट में आ जाता डायरेक्टली.
तो आप मानते हैं कि ये जो यूपीआई का सिस्टम है हर एक सेक्टर के लिए अच्छा है, ना केवल फ्रूट्स के लिए, दुकानों के लिए भी अच्छा है ये?
हाँ, मानते हैं.
छोटे व्यापारी हमारे जैसे जो भी है, जिसको पढ़ना नहीं आता, जिसको बोलने नहीं आता, खाली बस यूपीआई देख लिए, वो एक समझ नहीं आ जा रहा लोगों को किसका भी.
सर, ये जो है बॉक्स जो दिया ना, ये साउंड बॉक्स, इसकी वजह से जो है ऐसे लोग भी जो है, ऐसे लोग के लिए भी जो है ना बहुत सारे जो है ना बेनिफिट है. इन्हों भी जो है ना समझ सकते हैं कि मेरा पैसा मेरे अकाउंट में आ गया.
वी ऑल्सो हैव अ कस्टमर हियर, लेट्स टॉक टू हिम. सर, आप कस्टमर बन के यहाँ पे आए हो खरीदने, तो आप कैश में दे रहे हो या ऑनलाइन कर रहे हो?
नहीं, यूपीआई कर रहे साहब. ये तो ज़्यादा यही चल रहा है. ये कम से कम 70% तो यही चल रहा है, ऑनलाइन पेमेंट ही हो रहा है.
आपको ईजी लगता है यूपीआई पेमेंट?
हाँ सर, ईजी है सर, ईजी है. हर चीज़ के लिए अपन कुछ खरीदने के लिए जाओ वही पेमेंट कर रहे यूपीआई, कुछ लेने के जाओ वही यूपीआई. अपने को आ रहा भी फ़ोन पे ही पैसा, अपन डाल रहे भी फ़ोन से ही पैसा. इलेक्ट्रिक बिल है, गैस का है, तो कोई राशन शॉप पे जाओ आप, वहाँ पे ही यूपीआई चल रहा है. शॉपिंग मॉल में जाओ, किधर भी जाओ, पूरा यूपीआई यूज़ हो रहा है.
विड्रॉल वगैरह का प्रोसेस जब यूपीआई से ग्राहक कोई पेमेंट करता है तो उसका विड्रॉल बैंक से थ्रू वो भी इजी होता है?
हाँ, इजी हो रहा है सब, इजी हो रहा है. बैंक से जो हो रहा है ना विड्रॉल, वो भी इजी हो रहा है.
तकरीबन तो ऐसा हो गया कि बैंक जाने की ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ रही, क्योंकि हमारा अकाउंट हम बैंक जाके डालने की ज़रूरत नहीं है. क्योंकि हमारा भी जो है ना हमको कुछ खरीदना है, हम भी जो है ना यूपीआई कर दे रहे हैं, वो भी हमको यूपीआई कर दे रहे हैं. इसमें जो है ना बहुत सारी सहूलत ये हो गई और टाइम भी जो है ना बहुत बच जा रहा है. टाइम बहुत सेफ हो जा रहा. बैठ के जो है ना बिजनेस भी, सारे लोग बिजनेस भी कर ले सकते हैं आराम से. और जो है ना इन लोग को एक सहूलत बहुत अच्छी गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से जो है ना बहुत अच्छी सहूलत.
विद कैमरा पर्सन वासिफ, दिस इज माधु शर्मा फॉर NewsX.
Well, we are also in one of the busiest markets in Chennai, where more than lakh of people travel on daily basis, and this is one of the busiest markets. So we'll be going across to several shop vendors and we'll be asking about the usage of UPI payments. Sir, இப்போ UPI payment வந்திருக்கு, அது எவ்வளவு ஈஸியா இருக்கு உங்களுக்கு?
சார்,
UPI payment இருக்குல்ல, ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி payment.
ஆமாம். இப்போ எங்ககிட்ட இதுதான் சார் இருக்கு.
எந்த அளவுக்கு ஈஸியா இருக்கு, மக்கள் எந்த அளவுக்கு விரும்புறாங்க?
அதுன்றது நம்ம கரெக்டாக எதுவும் சொல்ல முடியாது சார். என்ன இருக்குன்னு நமக்கு தெரியாது. வராங்க இதில் பண்ணிட்டு போயிடுறாங்க, நிறைய பேர் இதில் தான் பண்ணிட்டு போகிறாங்க.
அது உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாக இருக்கா இல்லை கஷ்டமாக இருக்கா?
கஷ்டம்லாம் சார், ஈஸி தான் சார். இது ஒன்றும் பெரிய இது இல்லை, ஈஸியாக இருக்கும், ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை.
அவ்வளோ ரூபாய் வச்சுக்கிட்டு எண்ணிக்கிட்டு
கஸ்டமர்
இல்லைங்கும் போது, ஆமாம், சில்லறை இல்லைங்கும் போது நான் ஈஸியாக டக்குன்னு போட்டோன்னா அவங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாகிடும். இப்போ சில்லறை இல்லைங்கும் போது டிமாண்டாக இருக்கும், அது ஒரு பக்கம்.
சேஞ்ச் அடிக்கடி அர்ஜென்ட்டுக்கு சேஞ்ச் இது பண்ண முடியலைன்னா அந்த டைம் ரொம்ப ஈஸியாக இருக்குது, பெட்டராக உங்களுக்கு.
Well, we also saw the same reply coming over from the several shopkeepers. இப்போ UPI பேமெண்ட் வந்தது எந்த அளவுக்கு உங்களுக்கு ஈஸியாக இருக்கா இல்லை கஷ்டமாக இருக்குது?
நம்ம யூஸ் பண்ணுறது
இப்போ UPI பேமெண்ட்ஸ் வந்ததுக்கப்புறம் எவ்வளோ யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்கும் உங்களுக்கு பிஸ்னஸில்?
யூபிஐங்களா? சில பேர் கையில் காசு இல்லாமல் வராங்கல்ல, அவங்க உடனே வந்து பிம்மிலியோ இல்லை அந்த மாதிரி கூகுள் பே, ஜிபே இந்த மாதிரி யூஸ் பண்ணி அவங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்குது. எங்களுக்கும் ஓரளவுக்கு நல்லா சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடாக தான் இருக்குது, ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை. ஏன்னா உடனே ஒரு சில டைமில் தான் வந்து நெட் ஏதாவது ஃபால்ட்டு, சர்வர் பிரச்சனை அந்த மாதிரி வரும்பொழுது அவங்கள்ட்ட எதுவும் பண்ண முடியல. மற்றபடி ஈஸியாக தான் நல்லா தான் இருக்குது, ஒன்றும் பிரச்சனை இல்லை.
எந்த அளவுக்கு உங்களுக்கு ஃபாஸ்ட்டாகவும் இருக்குது, எதில் எப்படி உங்களுக்கு பிஸ்னஸ் இம்ப்ரூவேஷனும் நடந்துருக்குதுக்கா?
இது பார்த்திங்கன்னா இப்போது சில பேர் கையில் காசு இல்லாமல் இருப்போம், பக்கத்தில் இருக்கிறவங்க டக்குன்னு அவங்க வந்து ட்ரான்ஸ்ஃபர் பண்ணிக்கலாம் அப்படிம்பாங்க. அதனால் மொபைல் நம்பரில் கூட நம்ம பண்ணிக்கிறோம். பிம் இருக்கிறதுனால நிறைய பேர் அவங்களுக்கு சேஃப்னு வச்சுக்கலாம். இன்னும் சொல்லப்போனால் அவங்க பாக்கெட் மணி எடுத்து வரது நிறைய இடத்துல மிஸ் ஆகிடுது. மொபைல் அந்த மாதிரி ஆப் வச்சு யூஸ் பண்ணும்பொழுது ஈஸியாக அவங்க சாப்பிட்ற விஷயமோ இல்லை டிக்கெட் எடுக்கிறதுக்கோ எங்கேயாவது போகும்போது கூட அத்தியாவசியத்துக்கு ஏடிஎம் கூட போக மாட்டாங்க. இப்போ டேரெக்டாக அந்த மாதிரி ஷாப் ஏதாவது இருந்துச்சுன்னா அங்கே வந்து அவங்கள்ட்ட பிம்மில் ஏற்றி விட்டு இல்லைன்னா அந்த மாதிரி கியூஆரில் ஏற்றி விட்டு இது பண்ணிவிட்டு பைசா வாங்கிட்டு போயிடுறாங்க. நல்லா இருக்குது, அவங்களுக்கும் சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடாக. இப்போ நம்மளே வெளில போகிறோம், சப்போஸ் எதுவுமே பண்ண முடியல அப்படிங்கும்போது நம்ம என்ன பண்ணுறோம், இந்த மாதிரி ஆப்பை யூஸ் பண்ணும்போது ஜிபே இந்த மாதிரி கையில் இருக்கும்போது நம்ம அத்தியாவசியத்துக்கு நம்ம தேவையான அளவுக்கு நம்ம பர்ச்சேஸ் பண்ணுறதா இருக்கட்டும், சாப்பிட்ற இடமா இருக்கட்டும், எல்லா இடத்துலையுமே நம்ம சாட்டிஸ்ஃபைடாக இருக்கும். நோ ப்ராப்ளம், நல்லா
சரியா சார்? இப்போ UPI பேமெண்ட் வந்திருக்கு, அது எந்த அளவுக்கு உங்களுக்கு யூஸ்ஃபுல்லாக இருக்குது சார்? UPI ஸ்கேன் பண்ணி பே பண்ணுறாங்களே,
அது அதிகமாகிட்டு இருக்குது, அதிகமாக போடுறாங்க.
அது உங்களுக்கு எப்படி ஒரு நஷ்டமாக இருக்காது, எப்படி இருக்குது?
அது ஓனர் பார்த்துடுவார், நம்மளுக்கு தெரியாது, ஓனர் பார்க்குறாரு.
Okay, let me take that across to Chandraprakash Sharma as well, because Chandraprakash Sharma, you know, and obviously the ground reports are being done across the country, because this is not just an impact that UPI has had in the north of the nation. It's happened across the length and breadth of our country. In fact, we've even spoken about the global impact of it earlier. But CP Sharma, also, you know, we talk about, you know, Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas. And this is not just a mere campaign slogan, is it? Because we are seeing through these reports that Muslim vegetable vendors in Hyderabad too have benefited from UPI. There's a Hindu customer, a Muslim vegetable vendor, they are both using UPI and both benefiting because of it. So this really shows the impact of Sabka Saath, Sabka Vikas, and you know, mechanisms like this which have been brought in for digital cashless India. CP Sharma.
It's already proved by the channels that there is a very great success of Digital India, and it's not the only slogan Sabka Saath Sabka Vikas. It was the real words said by our Modi ji, and I want to say that our Handloom Handicraft Exporter Welfare Association have more than 20,000 exporters and MSMEs are related with us, and before 6-7 years, when we was visiting different countries like Frankfurt, like France, Maison du Object Fair and Istanbul Fair, at that time we was feeling that we have to use the credit card either or debit card. There was a very big problem of cash there, cash transaction. And now we feel very proud in India that more than that, now we have the Digital India. We can pay by mobile any payment, either 5 rupees or 5 lakh rupees. Yeah, it's the very great success of India. Whenever we are visiting, like I want to share this with you that we have started B2C fair, and after B2B fair, we have started B2C fair because of the great success of Digital India. Now we are arranging some B2C fairs for the success of the MSME, because the payments is very easy.
Yes.
Now the people who participate in different hearts in different states, they get the payment very easily. Either 20,000 or people are getting more than 1 lakh rupees, 10 lakh rupees sale per day. I proudly want to say you that our exporters turnovers compared to 2015, it was 18,000 crore in 2015-16.
Okay.
And now it's to 29,000 crore. That is not only for the export, but the Digital India. We feel very proud because of the Digital India.
Yes.
And small thing, whenever I'm going for the morning walk in morning, earlier we have to carry some cash to take nariyal pani and some juice. Now there is no need. We have, if we have the mobile.
So it's helping you in your business, and it's also helping you in your personal life, as you're saying, in your morning walks. Bharat Vadera, come in here on how this has benefited not just, of course, MSMEs. You also belong to that sector, Bharat, and of course, other companies who are asking people to make these digital payments for their products online. But vegetable vendors, mobile cover sellers, pan shop, our reports have covered it all, Bharat Vadera. And also, I want to then expand this slightly to Ajay Dua on how this is going to carry on for the long term as well. Bharat, but quickly answer that.
Yeah, good evening to everybody. And thing is that I will put more emphasis on the MSME. This digitalization was announced sometime July 2015 by the vision of our PM. And I see a great success, tremendous success in our MSME sector, which is a very important sector because it contributes more than 29% of the GDP. And there are 6.3 crores MSMEs are there who are also generating more than 11 crores employment. And after this digitalization, I've seen the great spike in the volume because the confidence, and especially this slogan, anywhere, anytime. So if you see, I go for the small payments like Mr. Sharma ji has said, keep going in the morning walk, even you don't need to carry any cash. And even for the abroad, if you're going, earlier there was a credit card, debit card, but now you feel so comfortable with the UPI payment or Google Pay and all that. I cover that Digital India, if you see that slogan, it covers other things which has helped the MSME sector, like going for the e-commerce. Dua Sahab has slightly spoke about that. E-commerce, if you see the WhatsApp or what you call Instagram, Twitter, the MSME has sector taken the maximum advantage from that sector also, from Digital India, considering that the confidence earlier, online shopping, you see the tremendous growth because of UPI. There's online shoppers have increased substantially.
Yeah.
Which contributes to the economy, of course.
So it's boosting our economy. It's impacting various sectors. But Anshuman Joshi, as the scope widens, how is it going to continue to fund itself, or will there be this outlay forever? Because there's no cost attached to it. There's no transaction fee, as you were telling us, which bankers like you charge. So how is it going to fund itself?
Well, I can tell you one simple thing. Then when you have that number of transactions, you do have infrastructure. I think that's pretty much taken care of by the banks as part of their technology costs. It's been taken over by NPCI for their own costs that they've got for the infrastructure for the country. So those budgets are already there. I mean, there's nothing new that they really need to go ahead and put in. But I can tell you this, that this is phase one, what we're looking at, what we've seen. There's definitely a phase two, which is going to be there in the UPI. If you've heard that basically India is going to go ahead and offer UPI to 30 different countries. That means businesses in India are going to be able to go global with global acceptance, which has been a major challenge in the e-commerce space. Let's say there's so many companies, like the gentleman said, exporters, businesses, e-commerce companies in India. They do a lot of business overseas. We ourselves do a lot of business overseas. But the challenge is that always in the B2C segment, there has been a challenge that, okay, you only have a choice to take credit cards. Now, let's say if somebody's trying to make a payment through a credit card, usually they will get declined, right?
Yeah.
So they would have to call their bank, approve it, and then do it. It's a lengthy process. I think once in phase two, UPI goes global. Now, phase two, I see.
Okay, so it's going to go global, but how is it going to continue to fund itself? Yes, Rishabh, quickly coming.
So, let me address the technical questions. There's a survey report which I know you put out also. The technical question is, why do banks make ATMs? Okay. The reason is that although that you have to pay for the security guard and the rent and the AC and the electricity, you save money on having less branches, open less with less number of tellers, which is far more expensive. So you're looking at potentially now I won't say an ATM-free country, but the need for ATMs will decline because the number of transaction withdrawals from ATMs will decline. So this is how you fund it in part. So there is no transaction fee at all. It's zero. Unlike all the credit card majors, where at least the vendor pays a transaction fee. There is no transaction fee, so there's an economic logic to this. The second is, if I put this into a holistic picture to what has just been put out in terms of UPI being offered to 30 countries, you have to see what's happening parallelly. Parallelly, we are working for a regime with the UAE, with Australia, with lots of other countries, where an acceptance of rupee as a foreign exchange, not just pounds, euros and dollars. So once you do that, once you have a bilateral agreement with these countries that they're willing to have a rupee transaction, then you have a UPI system, then you can do cross-border transactions from your phone, and India becomes the epicenter of it. The SWIFT epicenter for international transactions are based out of 3 servers, 2 of which operate in North America, 1 in Europe. So you are looking at a game-changing approach here. I'm just putting a larger context to this, Uday.
Absolutely. Well, I'm going to now quickly be going across to our big video wall to explain and reveal the survey findings that NewsX has done over the past few days. But first, here's the last ground report coming in from Modi Nagar market in Delhi. Take a look for yourselves how UPI is impacting there.
भैया, जब से ये यूपीआई आया है, पहली बात तो कितना फायदा हुआ है यूपीआई के आने से?
बहुत फायदा है, फायदा ही फायदा है सब।
कैसे? मतलब पहले लोग जो पेमेंट करते थे,
दिक्कत था, कोई खुलो का ऐसा दिक्कत नहीं पड़ता, किसी को 1 रुपया 2 रुपये 5 रुपये सब पेटीएम, फोन पे, कुछ भी।
तो कितना आपको डिजिटल पेमेंट आता होगा एक दिन की अगर बात करें?
हो जाता 1000-1500 रुपये।
तो आसानी से आ जाता है, लोगों को कोई दिक्कत नहीं।
मैंने तो बल्कि लोन भी ले रखा है फोन पे से।
तो आपको लगता है कि प्रधानमंत्री ने ये जो डिजिटल इंडिया बनाया है, ये डिजिटल पेमेंट दिया है छोटे वेंडर्स को या सबको, तो क्या प्रधानमंत्री ने ये बिल्कुल सही चीज की है?
बढ़िया, बहुत बढ़िया।
भैया, मैं आपसे जानना चाहूंगी, जब से डिजिटल इंडिया हुआ है, यूपीआई के थ्रू स्कैन कर देते हैं, लाइफ जो है बहुत इजी हो गई है। आपके मेरे जैसे के लिए पहले खुले पैसे रखने पड़ते थे। आपको कैसा लग रहा है डिजिटल इंडिया?
काफ़ी फ़ायदा हुआ है। लगभग अब पहले, जब इससे पहले हम शॉप पर जाते थे, टॉफ़ी लेनी, चॉकलेट लेनी है या कुछ अपने लिए लेना है, तो वापस कर देते थे, खुले पैसे लाओ, या 2000 खुले नहीं है, 500 खुले नहीं है। तो इससे काफ़ी फ़ायदा हुआ है। मैं काफ़ी अच्छा देखता हूँ। वेंडर ही नहीं, हमारी पर्सनल लाइफ में भी अगर हम पहले अकाउंट में पैसे सबमिट करने देते तो फॉर्म भरना पड़ता था, बैंक जाना पड़ता था। अब डायरेक्ट ही हम जो है अकाउंट में पैसे पहुंच जाते हैं, कोई भी भेजता है, तो बहुत सारी हमें सहूलियत मिली इस चीज़ से। ऐसा नहीं है, अगर अब ऑनलाइन जैसे हम वो करते हैं, कुछ ऑर्डर करते हैं, तो पहले उसमें बैंक की डिटेल भरनी पड़ती थी या पासबुक वगैरह की डिटेल भरनी पड़ती थी। अब फ़ोन पे से कनेक्ट करके डायरेक्ट ही उससे ऑर्डर हो जाता है, तो काफ़ी सहूलियत मिली है।
जब से डिजिटल इंडिया आया है, क्यूआर कोड है, स्कैन कीजिए, पैसा पे हो जाता है, कैसा आपको लग रहा है?
इसके काफ़ी लाभ हैं, और जब से ये आया है, जब से मार्केट में जिस तरह लोगों को खुले पैसों की समस्याएं आती थी, अब वो समस्याएं अब बंद हो गई हैं। क्योंकि अब जब से यूपीआई आया है, तो आप 10 रुपये, 5 रुपये, 30 रुपये, जो भी आपको छोटी पेमेंट है, आप इससे पेमेंट कर सकते हैं।
डिजिटल इंडिया के बारे में अगर बात करें कि क्यूआर कोड से स्कैन होकर छोटी से छोटी या बड़े से बड़ा अमाउंट जो है, वो हम एक बारी में एक सिंपल क्लिक से दे देते हैं, वेदर इट इज़ इंस्टामार्ट, यहाँ पे तो बहुत सारे छोटे वेंडर्स हैं। कैसा आपको लग रहा है अब?
मैम, सबसे बड़ा यूज़ तो इसका कैशलेस इकोनॉमी हो गई। अब कैश रखने में हमें डर नहीं रहता, क्योंकि हम कैश का ज़रूरत ही नहीं पड़ती, तो फ्रॉड का भी कोई चक्कर नहीं है ज़्यादा। बस यही है, और बहुत सारे लाभ है। कैश मतलब एक तरह से कैशलेस इकोनॉमी जो होती है वो हो गई है।
खाने पीने की ये जो आपकी दुकान है, कितना फ़ायदा क्यूआर कोड से हुआ है?
इससे ये फ़ायदा हुआ जी, जो हमारे पैसे जुड़ते रहते हैं, अगर हमें किसी को पैसे देने हो तो हम आसान तरीके से दे देते हैं, जो जुड़े हुए पैसे होते हैं।
तो प्रधानमंत्री ने ये जो सपना देखा था, उसको आप कैसे देखते हैं, जो आज साकार हो गया है, एक रियलिटी बन के आ गया है? यहाँ पे पेमेंट तो आ ही रही है, कई बार लोग उधार भी कर जाते थे, लेकिन अब तो ये भी है कि खुले पैसे नहीं है तो क्यूआर कोड कर दीजिए। तो कैसे देखते हैं प्रधानमंत्री के इस सपने को आप, जो कि साकार हो गया?
काफ़ी अच्छा लगा हमें।
सर, मैं आपसे जानना चाहूँगी, आपने ये क्यूआर कोड लगा रखा है, कितना फ़ायदा हुआ है आपको?
इससे बहुत फ़ायदा है।
कैसे, क्या फ़ायदा हुआ है?
इससे फ़ायदा ये है, किसी चीज़ में पैसे नहीं, ऑनलाइन पैसे आ जाते हैं इससे।
So this is the new India that Prime Minister dreamt about. This is the digital India that we are talking about. With video journalist Dilip, Mahima for NewsX.
Now, we've also done a survey where, of course, we asked respondents some key questions pertaining to UPI. And this survey was, of course, done by NewsX. Sample size is 800, 630 men surveyed and 170 women as well. You can see the percentage breakup there. Let's quickly now reveal what the results of this big UPI survey were. So the first question we posed to the respondents was, do you use UPI to make payments and send money? 54.03%, so that's more than half of the people surveyed said yes, they do. 45.05% said no, they don't, and 0.91% said can't say. And you can see clearly over there the rural and urban breakup as well being given. So obviously there is 10% of the urban populi who said yes, they do use UPI, who are of course from rural pockets of the country. And obviously the divide there is when you see the no's, obviously that's 29% compared to just 15% in urban setups or urban centers across the country. So obviously that's something that will be in this next phase of UPI rollout. If yes, how often do you use UPI is what we asked the respondents. People said they use it daily. 40.79% say they use UPI daily. So it's a daily part of their routine. 24.35% said they use it weekly. 18.57% said they use it monthly. And can't say was 16%. Just look at that. 17% rural Indians surveyed actually said they use it daily. So that's a huge number, a huge statistic in itself. Let's go across to the next slide if we can. Has UPI made your life easier? Big question that we posed to the respondents of this survey. Yes, a lot is what 47.95% people said. 28.31% people said somewhat. Not much was a meager 17.96%. And of course, not at all, just 5% respondents. And again, that's a very important statistic there, that 19.33% Indians in rural parts of the country saying that it has made a huge difference to their daily lives. Also, of course, what do you use UPI most for? Now, we've tried to give you some details through our ground reports. We've tried to cover a wide strata of, centers across the country. But let's show you now what the respondents to this survey said. So, overwhelming people use it more for groceries and shopping. So, daily needs, groceries, shopping, 36.23% people. Sending money to family or friends, very important because a lot of people work in cities. They want to send money back home. 21.31% public used it for sending money back to their family and friends. 22.07% for actually paying bills and utilities. So also that's something that UPI is now being used largely for. And 20.40% people said they used it for other sort of needs, daily needs and requirements. As you can see, it's clearly, the UPI transactions have clearly, of course, gone up in huge volume. You can see, of course, it has increased with each passing year, and big results of this survey coming out for further breakdown of this. And for the main takeaway, I want to go back across to Rishabh Gulati, who is still with us. Rishabh, what was your main takeaway?
Okay, let me just quickly recap this, Uday, for the people watching this broadcast with us. Okay, so what is the survey telling us? Okay, the survey is a snap poll we've done over the past 48 hours. It's telling you that more than half of the people surveyed are using UPI. 2/3 of the people surveyed who are using UPI are using it either daily or weekly. And 2/3 of that are either finding it has somewhat or greatly made their life easier. It is also showing you simultaneously that there still exists an urban-rural bias in this. And primarily the rollout of two additional features of UPI. One is to be able to call to transfer, and the other is the feature phone through SMS to transfer of UPI. Right now, smartphone users, you have a UPI app, Google Pay, whatever, Phone Pay, Paytm, whatever you're using. But these two new facilities that you can transfer by making a phone call, which you can do from any feature phone or through an SMS. This should help the rural penetration as well. So, but even if a dipstick test is telling you that if you've just called up 700-800 random people and they said 50% of the same, yeah, we're using it almost every day. What does that tell you? Would these same people be using a credit card every day? Very unlikely.
Absolutely. Big developments of this survey clearly, as you just heard on the broadcast. And I want to quickly take that across to Ajay Dua as well. Ajay Dua, this just shows us the vast amount of our population that is adapting to it, that is using it. Daily shopping needs, daily payment needs back to their family and friends that they need to send. Also paying of bills now, something that people have to do on a monthly basis, being done more and more through UPI. Ajay Dua.
Uday, at a macro level, it's what digital economy is doing to the country is what I wish to recall. Number one, with no distinction between formal retailing, formal shops, and vendors, hawkers, corner shops, or so-called mom and pop stores, with everybody now using these either the Aadhaar-based enabled systems or the full-fledged UPI. The question is, we are seeing the formalization of the economy, formalization of workers, etc., to a much greater extent. And I don't need to recap the advantages of movement from unorganized to the formal sector. Whether the tax authorities start collecting more than before because people are more conveniently able to pay, etc., are all benefits of it clear. Number two, it is helping increase domestic trade as well as it would start helping foreign trade take place once the payment system, as Rishabh was mentioning a little while ago, once we have the arrangement for payment with 30 countries. It would enable, domestic economy, as we said, convenience of paying there for the to the merchant and the retailer to the back end supplier of his distributor or the wholesaler and the small customer as well as the big customer. The domestic economy certainly receives its boost up. But the international trade would also start receiving a similar boost up, at least with respect to the countries with which you enter into the arrangement. And the bigger advantage, I would say, is rupee becoming a reserve currency. As we move forward, with whether we are the fourth largest economy or the fifth, that apart is, as time goes on, that will tell. But what it's going to get, the major benefit is rupee gets introduced into the world trade, and that, I think, brings in the prosperity which the dollar brought to the Americans, at least to start with. And finally, let me say, this is going to help the so-called global recession which is affecting India's trade. India's export trade has been likely to be impacted.
Yes.
And we've seen it in the last 6 to 9 months.
Okay.
How much, we've got stagnation in our exports, whereas our import bill is rising hugely because of the geopolitical situation as well as the supply chain disruptions of the China effect.
Yes.
So I see in all these micro level changes a huge build-up.
Chandraprakash Sharma, let me bring you in here on, of course, also the rural-urban divide as well. Because while 19.33% respondents say that it has made their daily life easier, in rural parts of the country, there is still, about 10.20%, beg pardon, 29.98% people in rural India who are still saying they don't use UPI at all. What needs to be done to change that?
That I can say that the percentage, whatever you are saying, the people are not using UPI system. That is maybe can afford the good quality of phone like the normal standard phones. It's not you cannot use UPI system on that phone, or maybe there can be some communication gaps, some education issues can be there. But what I can say, we have our different factory in Uttarakhand, we have different factory in Uttar Pradesh, and we have different factory in Odisha, village area. All peoples are using UPI there. Maybe there can be some data issue. You do not have some good survey. But I must say that most of the peoples now in India are using UPI systems. Whatever labor payment we are making now, we are paying by mobile. there is no need to pay cash. There is no need to go in the bank. And every laborers have their account details, and we just add them by the way of mobile number, and we are paying them. We
Yes.
in our factory we have more than 1,500 people are working in different state of the countries, but we are paying nothing by cash now. All payments are we are paying by mobile number.
Yeah.
Whatever the people who are not aware about the system, we are giving them good knowledge.
Absolutely. And the fact is, Bharat Vadera, during the pandemic, when contactless payments were being encouraged, and people obviously were not wanting to come as close to anyone else as possible during lockdowns, and also when restrictions were in place in the last couple of years, this has been a huge boon, hasn't it, for people, for citizens of our country, and also those who are in big cities but have their families in other parts of the country, in rural pockets, to send money home, to transfer money home.
Absolutely, you are right. During this pandemic, this digitalization, the UPI and all this payment mode has got a tremendous tapping, and it has really covered this. And mainly, if you see this UPI, if I just sum up in 2 words, ease of doing business has gone substantially at relax and contributing to the growth of economy. The sales have gone like I don't know about this, but export also, small MSME exporters have regained all the lost period which was during the COVID. They have lost due to the hike in the freight and all. There's so many factors. But now the confidence is built up. And this UPI, I tell you, even I've seen my driver, he's using the UPI very confidently, and they don't feel any hesitant. The confidence has come. Only one small threat is there, that this, especially this cyber crime. But I've seen people, they use so many tactics, how to steal the data or how to use. Only we have to be little vigilant on that part. If we can control
Do you believe
that
that's a scare that perhaps people in rural India also have, because sometimes they're more prone to believing these kind of rumors?
If we can control that factor with some great strategy or some automation tool, I think this is going to, it's a totally already revolutionize this business, especially for the hackers or everybody. And it will contribute to the economy to large extent. I tell you, the GDP, everybody feels so confident. It's so fast also. It's so rapid, like immediately, instantly the payment goes and transaction takes place, it accomplished, and things everything is finished. So confidence with the recurring transaction is building up.
Yes, and we're seeing that over the years, because of course the survey graphics as well, which we'll also be putting out on our screen, show the kind of graph, the evolution of UPI, in sheer terms of volume over the years. You can see it through that line there, and it's there vis-a-vis other payment forms as well, where obviously credit card and debit cards were more, say, in 2017, 2018, but vis-a-vis UPI in 2021, things have changed. NEFT transactions still are, a huge volume of transaction, but obviously things will change further in the days ahead. And Phone Pay to Google Pay to Paytm, Cred, these are so many now players in the market, all of this contributing, isn't it, Anshuman Joshi, to this UPI boom? What was your main, takeaway or finding from what we just read out? Yes.
What I understand from a banking perspective is this, that, India is going to be basically this, like you said, the center stage for everything. I only look at one thing, that the rupee is going to get stronger, because majority of the global transactions that are going to come in through this platform, it is going to give access to the Indian banks to more liquidity. And usually, if in the payment card industry, what usually happens is, usually you get one-day float when it comes to payment gateway aggregators and stuff like that. And I think that's sufficient. So that even covers the cost if you look at one-day interest, okay? So I can also tell you this, if there are 30 countries that are signing up for UPI, what is going to happen is that you're going to have liquidity of these 30 countries coming in. and that liquidity is going to enhance the strength of the rupee. And I recently heard that Sri Lanka has also started transacting in rupee, and I think a lot of countries which are underdeveloped right now, right at a stage of development, well, they can implement it easily. And I think their central banks out there would be, I think, perfect institutions to go ahead and implement something like that. And I think it's I think a fabulous dream that Modi ji saw. And I personally feel, because of all his efforts and his council of ministers and everybody who's done almost everything in their capacity, the honorable Reserve Bank governors and everybody.
Okay.
And yeah, they've done a fabulous job. That's what I would want to say.
No doubt.
I think, yeah,
no
doubts
doubt.
about it.
And we certainly hope they'll continue to do that. Ajay Dua, last word to you. Closing comment.
Is that the movement towards moving from 1/3 of the population to a much greater number proportion, and maybe the entire population at some time or the other, would also require simultaneously what was mentioned by Mr. Vadera. We need to be taking care of security of the entire payment system. It is partly true, it does happen, and it is happening. So a few incidents do come to light. That's one assurance which we need to give to people in our country, where we are still at a fairly low per capita income. Number one. Number two, I think the question of ever charging for it, the service, should not arise. There might be temptation on parts of various platforms. If one platform has better features than the other, that guy might want to charge a bit, saying at least get rental income, so-called rent profits for till such time, because uniqueness is being offered by that. That should not be allowed. So all that I am moving towards, and I'll end it at that ratio, it's time we also thought of an independent regulatory system being evolved. So right away, let's start thinking about it, how to make sure that what has been envisaged, what has taken off well, keeps on growing and culminates in a win-win situation.
Yes. Okay, let's leave it at that. My thanks to all of our guests for joining us on this special broadcast on NewsX. We will, of course, be continuing this special series, but for the time being, it's time for a very short break. Stay with us.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.